Hello everyone, Namaste, how are you all? The podcast which you listen now, it's a little bit different from the other podcasts which I have done earlier. So basically it's not with any fitness influencer or any bodybuilder. It's with my faculty teacher in our department, in my department. So it is a lot of informative and I feel you'll like it. So please do watch it and देख लो बस जाके enjoy. Hello ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming for this podcast. मान गए आप सबसे पहले तो and it will be a kind of Q&A session which I spoke you about earlier and you did not need any kind of introduction but I need to know for you the people that please introduce yourself.
Okay. So I'm Shifra Fernandes. I am a faculty at the Exercise and Sports Science Department at MCHP under Mahe. Basically in training I'm a physical therapist. Worked as a physical therapist for almost 5 to 6 years or more than that, and then went on to do masters in kinesiology. After that, still worked in the US and then came back to India, and since then working as a faculty in the sports science department.
I'll start with Q&A session, ma'am. The first question. No, it's not about that. Yeah, you talked about your graduation, physiotherapist. Tell me something about your graduation and post-graduation. You did post-graduation as well, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did my bachelor's in physical therapy at Manipal itself way back in 2007. And after completing from here, I went back to Mumbai. I practiced there for 2 years. Here is where we start clinic. We used to start at least clinics by the third year. So third year, fourth year internship, we had clinical training. And then in Bombay, I worked in an outpatient setting, which has an ICU as well. So it was like outpatient and 1 month ICU posting. Amongst which I realized that orthopedics is my strongest suit and my liking and inclination, and sport was the primary focus of everything, and for choosing physiotherapy as well. So like, sports physiotherapy is what I wanted to do. But during my graduation itself, one of my mentors, who was the founder of sports science at Manipal, he told me about strength and conditioning and kinesiology and sports science in general, and that time there wasn't a program here in India itself, so that's what made me curious about things into sports science, and that's why I took up kinesiology, which is predominantly sports science in the US. There's fewer now. There are more courses which have sports science as the degree. Otherwise, it's kinesiology itself. But in UK, Australia, there you term it as sports science. So that's why after working for 2 years, getting that experience and understanding where I have a stronger understanding and inclination, I chose kinesiology over there, which is very different from what I did previously. Even the education system, style of teaching, everything was very, very different. But through that, I completed my license as well over there in the state of Texas. So I was a licensed practitioner in the state of Texas, which I worked for 1.5 years, after which I came back to India.
So bachelor's you did in physiotherapy and master's in sports science?
Kinesiology.
So kinesiology comes under physiotherapy or sports science?
Under sports science.
Under sports science.
So kinesiology is basically an umbrella term under which you have different aspects. So you have biomechanics, you have exercise physiology, you have physical activity, health promotion, health education, all of that. All these parameters come under that. And so one aspect which I focused on was more on the sport aspect, sport physiology and sport nutrition aspect. But I do not practice more of that. I'm more into the applied aspects of prescription, exercise prescription, which over here can be misleading towards just the clinical population. But basically what I do is more of the rehab aspects, more even athletic injuries, athletic management, athletic training and general population training. So it's all aspects of exercise prescribing, basically to return to sport, to improve your performance without using any modalities. So that's the exercise prescription that what I'm talking about.
So kinesiology, like physiotherapy is a degree course. Kinesiology is also a degree course.
Yes.
Oh, that I didn't knew that. Acha, next question. How's like now you're a working professional from past 4 and 5 years? 6 years. Sorry. So how student life is different from a professional life? Like being as a student and now being as a working professional and teaching the students. So how is it a little bit different?
It's very different, especially being in from Manipal itself. It's very different. You have a lot more freedom. I mean, I still have freedom as a faculty as well, but the environment is different. You have an entire batch of students who you come together with. You know you are here to study and enjoy. Whereas I know I'm here to be a responsible person. So there are certain restrictions which I may have. There are certain limitations which I may have. But being on the other side, now I understand why my teachers couldn't deliver certain things, or how much we might have annoyed our teachers asking for various things. Whereas when you come on the other side, you realize that okay, to do one thing, it takes so much of procedure. And as a student, you're not aware of that. And mostly the teachers also don't make you aware of those things. But I think things are changing, and even faculty try to make students more aware to tell their limitations. And I think it works better so that we don't just hold grudges against our teachers and we understand them, hopefully. And so that's the main shift, being trying to be a better, I wouldn't even say a role model, but setting an example. Because if I come late to a class, students would come late to a class. If I expect them to have discipline, I should have some discipline. So as a student, I could take that for granted, but as a faculty, I can't.
But how does it feel like becoming a teacher in the same university which you were a student at one point?
Initially odd, but I think because our department was very different and it's not the same department where I studied from, so it was very easy. I mean, the founder, HOD, I knew him prior, so he made things very easy and smooth for us. He never treated us as students. We obviously look up to him, and because he was my teacher also. So I've always looked up to him. But he made our transition, and I think when I came, there were 2 other faculty who joined with me. And so it was like a beginning of a new journey for all of us. So transition wise, it was smoother. Yes, initially, obviously, for any new professional, you're always going to be scared. Even when I saw my first patient by myself, I was scared, and it was evident on my face. But I had a very good batch of students, the very first batch, who were very forgiving. So they taught me, and after that, I kind of gained confidence.
What about this?
You just came. Now I'm just too experienced, and I know how to tackle you people.
After this podcast, you'll be facing some very good image of us, no? After like hearing all these things and getting the good experience about us as well. The next question is like, it's involvement of all our students. As a student, we like put up this question, like how you see in upcoming years the evolving of sports science. Like you mentioned about sports science, so in upcoming years, what are the chances of
sports science where? Here or in the country?
In the country. In the country, here as well.
In the country, definitely. See, when I finished in 2016 when I finished, or when I started off in 2014 is when our program started. We started with a master's program directly. But at that point of time, that was the very first batch, and my mentor advised me to go ahead and pursue my education in the US. I had gotten a scholarship as well, so he said might as well go do that and then come back, and then you give your contribution here. But at that point of time, there weren't any opportunities, there weren't many things in sport. But in the last 5 years, when I did my master's itself, after that everything changed. By the time I came back, there were like multiple people with different jobs, may not be the right fit for that job, but just because they have passion for the sport, they have been in that role, and it's based on experience probably that they have stayed on. But there is a need for understanding that sports science, what sports scientists can offer, is very different from just going to the gym and making people lift weights. That is not what sports science is. That's just a very small parameter amongst sports science. Sports scientists, they have a lot to offer an athlete, to a team, to any individual seeking performance enhancement, or even just in general fitness. There are different aspects to see. So because of cricket, because of badminton, and the other sports where India is doing very well, there is more awareness, and that's a good thing, and that is just skyrocketing right now. Like currently, India is where everyone wants to be. Everywhere else, there are lack of jobs, there is recession, there is like the global scenario is changing constantly, and currently India, I think, is the best place to be for sport. There is a lot of development. We have a huge population, and we have many kids who are also involving into sport, and from the parental side also there is more push towards sport as compared to before. So there are going to be a lot more opportunities. I mean, there are already so many placements, and it's not just the strength and conditioning aspect I'm talking about, even for biomechanics, for exercise physiologists, on the other aspect for sports psychologists, sports nutritionists, everyone who works within the sports science team. There are so many more openings, and there's a lot more realization, I think, and that is what is needed. And understanding that sports science is a specialty, and not everyone opts for it. It's not mainstream, like we all know about that. But everyone needs to realize that sports science professionals have a lot to offer, and they are the right people for the job because they are trained for it. So yeah.
Well, might be I'm completely wrong, but I need to ask this question. I've seen a lot of people after graduating with sports science degree. So after completing their bachelor's, they are opting for masters directly rather than working. I've seen a lot of people, like if they are working also, they are working for like 6 months or less than a year, and they are directly opting for masters.
Why? I mean, it's their personal choice.
It's their personal choice, but I've seen a lot of people, I've asked them as well. So a lot of people who graduated this year also and last year also, they are working, they are getting internship and all, but at the end they're like, we'll do masters and then we'll get something new, or we'll get something new opportunity. So why is that, or is it that?
I think it's more of an Indian mindset that fatafat you need to finish your education and then you work. But if you see most places abroad also, they never choose, like they do work, I mean they work throughout, like they work through their bachelors, they work through their masters, but bachelors can be in a very different field. Like for physiotherapy, like my colleagues in the US, they did a doctoral in physical therapy. So that in their bachelors, they would have done something completely different. But in their masters, they chose this. So they just need the prerequisites and then apply for the program. So they get that time to think and decide, because bachelors, they usually pick a major and they graduate with that. Very few people you'll say that were very focused, I want this, and they go in that pathway. But so they have a lot more life experience because they tend to start working at an early age. Their independence in the sense they are very independent in the living form. They don't rely on their parents. Here we do have still a tendency where we are very homebound, which is also a good thing. But at some stage, like I think during your UG is the first time that you would have come and stayed outside your house, right? Other than very few people might have stayed in hostel. But still, there is a strict regime that you will follow. There is a strict like a protocol if you are in hostel. But if you are staying here, you are responsible for waking up and going to class. You are responsible for your own food. You are responsible for doing everything. So that is a lot more elsewhere, and that kind of, it's a surrounding. It's like your friend would have done some BTech and then gone on to either work or maybe MTech, or if they've done after that maybe no post-graduation, they'll continue in the field of work. But even I took 2 years break after my UG, and I took that time because many people advised me also that go work, apply what you have learned, because what you are going to learn in college is going to be like base level information, and then nobody can teach you to apply that. You have to go there in the field, and then you start actually learning how do you use that information. So when I did that, I had 5 streams of specialization that I could choose from, and that's when I realized by working in everything that I don't like the other 4. I only like one. I like ortho, so I pursued that, and I like sport more. And what more can I do in sport? Everyone's doing sport physio. Then I went on to find out that kinesiology, sports science exists, and I went on to do that. So definitely it gives more perspective if you have that learning and working experience. But to each their own if they want to finish off, because some people take time to get back to academics if they have that break. And I think I was also told the same, that if you don't study for 2 years, after 2 years it's going to be difficult. But I think if you are focused and determined that you want to do this, or this is the program I want to do, even if you are 40 years old, you're going to do that. Like I had classmates in the US who were married, who had kids, who were just fresh out of bachelors. So there was a big mix. And I think most places you would get that. And probably in India, I think MBA is the only field where I think that mix exists. But I don't know about other streams.
Ma'am, I need to be little raw, like completely. I have to ask this. Might be it won't sound good or not, I don't know. But yeah, about money. Like if how much they are getting, or is it like that much if you want to earn money? Like sports science can lead towards that.
I didn't.
Like if you want to earn money, like for us, like me and some of the guys who are coming after completing their 1 or 2 degrees, and I know they are not in that age to experiment themselves and doing little things. Like a lot of people I've asked, they are like, I chose this course because I like this sport or particular thing. And if they are working also, they are not getting paid, and they are like, I just enjoy my work and that is more than enough for me. But at the end, money matters. If you are not getting that much amount, if you are not getting paid also, so does it work?
No, obviously you have to get paid for what you do.
Yeah.
So it's about how you sell yourself. Okay, so even for a physical therapist, if I was working as a physical therapist, okay, I might have a 9 to 5 job, but I might have a low paying salary. It's there everywhere. Like when you start off, you don't have a very high paying job. So it depends on how you find that, what type of experience you have. Initially, yes, you might work for free to learn from the people in the field, and once you have that confidence enough, you can go and market yourself that this is what I can do, this is what I bring to the table. It's how you give your interview if you want to start something of your own. So even I don't say that you have to wait for graduation. There are a lot of things which you can do. Okay, not a full time as a sports scientist, but in your first year you can get experience working on different aspects, maybe related to sport, taking up internships while you are studying, and then by the time you are like in your third year, you have more understanding of sports science, and then you go on to take up jobs which are related to sports science, and that gives you a early beginning or early opening, like right after your undergraduate degree as well. So apart from that, there are a lot of things that you can consider helping people out with. What I always tell students is you don't have to like work with the best athlete to learn about sports science. You have to start from your class, you start from your friends, you start from your family. Like you give them basic education as to why you're doing this exercise, how you're doing this exercise, what you need to do to stay fit. And based on your understanding of because it's exercise and sports science, it's not only about sports, it's about exercise for general population, whether they're diabetic, whether they're hypertensive. Basics of that is what you should be aware of, and knowing how to prevent that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why exercise and sports science does well. So you don't always have to go into mainstream sport. There is a health and wellness section which you can opt for, and that is the biggest market in India as well, because we are the diabetic capital, we are hypertensive, everything we have.
Obesity.
So if we channelize people in the right direction, because it doesn't work like I do housework is not counted as physical activity, and having that understanding and bringing that information out there and helping individuals, maybe like you can't always make profit out of it, but whether you conduct awareness camps and something, start small. There are a lot of online internships which are available, seminars, webinars, etc., which students also can do. And I think that is where education and awareness is going to spread. I think that's the first thing before you take up like a full-time job, or you take up anything, and that will eventually fetch you money for sure. And it's not that you're going to continue that forever. You have to make sure that you develop those skills while you are studying that, and then go on to market yourself. So utilize every opportunity. But for an individual who's probably older and has different work experience, they have to either be in that mindset that they can continue working remotely and pursue their degree, because we've had people like that as well. I have interviewed for bachelor's program people who are probably in their 40s, who have an established business, but because they are towards the sport industry, they what do you say they continue working while they try to pursue a degree. So those options are there. I'm not saying that Manipal Hall has all these options, but there are places which give you those options as well.
Apart from sports science, now I want to talk about something related to your life as well. So yeah, so you talked about physiotherapy. So like in the mindset, why you come here? I need to do that physiotherapy only. Like why not any other course or something related to physiotherapy? Or in your family, are there any physiotherapists?
Not in my near or extended family. There are no doctors, there are no engineers, there aren't any.
Like why physiotherapy only?
Since a very young age, I've always been into sport. I used to play tennis. My brother was almost professional tennis player, I can say. He used to play international as well. But yeah, he also came to a point where he stopped for various reasons. But he's older to me, and whatever he did, I wanted to do. So I played tennis, I played basketball, I played football. Whatever he did, I did. Not at the same level, but at least I tried. And with that, I never had interest in engineering, and I didn't have interest in medicine. So I was very sure what I didn't want to do. What I wanted to do was, actually I started off with dentistry, and somebody discouraged me. You have so many people telling you 100 things when you reach your 12th, and they discouraged me thoroughly. And that's when some of my college friends, they tried to tell me that how are you going to feel working in a small room, like just putting your hand in someone's mouth? And for you, when you are always outdoors, don't you think something sport related would be something that you liked? And that I always saw on TV the person who used to come on the football field, and I always wanted to be that person. And that's when I realized, okay, that person is a physiotherapist. And then I went on to choose that, and because I wanted to be associated with sport. And also after trying all aspects of physiotherapy, like the different domains, I realized none of them are for me, but sport is the one for me.
Until now, after achieving like a lot of things like success, failure, side apart, but any regrets of life, like ये हो सकता था, ये नहीं हो सकता था, या कुछ और हो सकता था, something like that.
I mean,
like ये काम, does it work, it won't work, कुछ और हो सकता था, कि yeah, it's only like I've asked some of the like if I am allowed to speak here or not, but I've asked one of the faculty, so they were like कि I was planning to do that, but unfortunately I was not able to do that, so
I don't think, I mean, I've never planned anything. I think US also was not planned. I always said I didn't want to go to US, but I did go to US. And then when I started working there, I thought I wouldn't come back, but the visa said otherwise. I had to come back. So yeah, I was very disappointed at that point, because I had reached a stage where I was very comfortable and I was quite happy doing what I was doing. I was working in an outpatient setup. I had my master's, everything was done. So educational wise, I thought I had completed everything, and now we will enjoy, because all through my college and school, I was very academically focused. I played sport, but I didn't really make that time for, I think, like how I see you guys, chill, study right before the exam. But I had none of that. I was like, okay, exam aa raha hai, so 1 month preparation, all that will be happening. But when that happened, I thought like, why? But when I came back, I still intended to go back, but that didn't work out either. And then I just by chance happened to come to Manipal, and Fitty sir happened to know that I was in India, so he called me, and then I don't know, I just never left from here.
What about Australia? Like there's a student exchange program in our course, no? So like a lot of people are planning to go there. So just tell me something about that as well. Like, is it worth it to go there and study? Like, how does it make a change after doing graduation here as compared to there?
See, from an education perspective, both our curriculums are actually matched. So we essentially deliver the same content. But if you have to see infrastructure wise, also we have very good infrastructure. We have Marina, which I think we can boast about that. Even they agree with that.
Yeah.
But yes, because Australia is way more advanced in sports science. I think they are way more advanced than the US as well. I don't know if that is like controversial topic, but they are very experienced. Like the faculty, the entire sport industry over there, they have recognized sports science long before we have. And what I have seen over there, yes, there is definitely a different teaching style, which is not very accepting over here. Like if I were to do the same things here, there is no response from students over here. I mean, I have tried. It's not like I haven't tried, because I've had experience with another education system, and that concept is still going to take a lot more time. But what is different there, what I have gathered from my visit to Australia, to Deakin University, is, and from the students, I think 3 batches of students who have gone there, is the experience, the entire experience of being by yourself, trying to be more independent, getting more practical exposure for yourselves, not relying on the institute, rather going out and trying to find those opportunities. That's a lot more. And that sense of responsibility and realization that, you know, my education is in my hands, is a lot more over there as compared to here. Here, I don't know for some reason why, but a lot of students just take it for granted ki, you know, college has to provide this or college has to do that. But we can give you base education, we can give you practical by teaching you certain basic things, techniques, and that's exactly what they do there. Their classes are, they are what they are, like same thing. There is a demonstration, there is a skill which is taught, and you practice that. But you have the opportunity with placements, which they tend to, you have to interview for them. It's not just, you know, just put it on your lap. You have to interview for them. It is competitive. It's really, really competitive. And you have to be the best to get the best placement. So here, yes, we do kind of lack on placements, but we do have, I think, ample opportunities on the campus itself, being a very big, like we have a good sporting arena, and we have huge grounds. We have plenty of teams. We have, I think, more than almost 20 institutions in Mahe itself. So why not start there? So there is, I think, equal opportunity. But yes, culturally it's a different experience and life experience, I would say.
Varun, you should go. Now you're ready. So last thing before finishing off this podcast, any advice for me to all our students and to all our viewers as well? Any advice from your side, like, or suggestion?
To students, only one advice which I keep telling you, as I said just now, education is in your hands. How you learn is in your hands. We can't spoon feed you. And make use of your 3 years when you're under graduation. You will repent it after leaving, for sure. That, अरे मैंने क्या कर दिया? I should have done something. ये करना था, वो करना था. You realize it later. But try every aspect. Try to find yourself. I mean, I know that can be very deep, but find what you like. At least if you have taken this course, you've thought something and taken this course. And don't just go by what your classmates say, or, you know, you might have a friend who says something. Just don't go by that. Question yourself. That do you actually like what you're doing? If you do, then why? Where can I, you know, look forward? Contact your seniors, alumni. They're all very helpful people. So they would definitely guide you. Opportunities also come from them itself. So look what is there in the field. Look at what are the trends. Just don't follow random Instagram or YouTube videos, which I usually get like, this is the proof. That is not the proof. There are many people, what they have done, we don't know. So look through literature. Use that as your guiding line, and you have many people to contact as well to clarify your things. But utilize these 3 years to the maximum. I'm not saying just study, enjoy also, but try to find what is your professional drive.
But right now I'm liking what I'm doing right now.
Then continue doing what you're doing.
Obviously. So thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. So stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay connected. Thank you so much for watching this, ma'am. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.